Hello, good morning, people. My name is Vivek Pandey, and from today on, I am going to record myself while reading something, and I'm not going to read it like a normal person, just taking a book and reading. I'm trying to yes, I'm trying to uh, get better in my pronunciation, and also I have a problem of fast speaking, and the problem of pronunciation, you have seen it, that I have said fast, not fast. And the one more problem which I have is I speak a lot through my nose. So I want to change it. So I am going to read a book by Dr. Subha Vilas, that is called as Open Eyed Meditations. I don't know why my brother bought it, but just read it. And I am going to read its fourth chapter, that is why I don't make the right decisions in life. Yeah, very nostalgic. I'm saying nostalgic, no, very relative. Okay, so the first chapter on this book was, I have read it. Actually, this is my second day, but I didn't record from the first day, so I'm recording from the second day. And the first chapter was that yoga of communication, in which this book talks about that yoga is not just about speaking, not just about closing your eyes and trying to meditate and being in a state where your thoughts, where you have less thoughts, and after a certain time, you became a thoughtless person. This chapter especially talks about that yoga is not just that. Yoga is about yoga is about, which I personally thought, know I don't know about anything about yoga, but which I know is yoga is not about just these things. Meditating, yoga is about just the mindfulness of a people. Whenever you are going somewhere, whenever you are sitting, whenever you are doing anything, yoga is that you are being mindful and clearly searching okay, clearly observing the situations, and just observing the situation, just that is yoga. Yeah. So the first chapter, which talks about yoga of communication, it talks about that communication is also a yoga, and for a healthy body we have to talk a lot. That's why I'm talking a lot. And the second chapter is the paralysis by analysis syndrome. Yeah, you heard it right. The paralysis by analysis syndrome, which talk about when we analyze things much more than it's needed, that makes our brain to go in a situation where it gets paralyzed, and we over think about this. And this book gives example of Arjuna, Ram, Hanuman, characters. uh, so the third is I don't know what I'm saying. The third chapter is, do all problems have quick fix solution? In this chapter, we talk about that they talked about that every problem, sorry, she talked about that every problem doesn't have a solution. Some problems doesn't need to be solved, some problem have to be tolerated. And yeah, if we tolerate some problem, that might become the problem just become easier to tolerate, or maybe it's gone. And the third problem, the fourth chapter, which I'm going to read, and I have an exercise, so that my the fast pace which I speak so casually, whenever I am speaking, I speak so fast. So I want to correct it. And the second thing is my pronunciation, and the third thing which I want is the habit of mine is of speaking, the habit of mine of speaking through my nose. And also i'm trying to I'm trying to be good in speaking English, and wanted to be making less mistakes. So the fourth chapter, which is why don't I make the right decisions in life, let's read it. And the exercise is this: take a pen. I saw it on a reel. Take a pen and प्लेस इट, जितना आप झेल सकें, है ना, द मोर यू कैन टॉलरेट, because there is no clear instructions that where to place it here घूम डालो, ऐसा कोई डिस्कशन नहीं था, ऐसा कोई सॉरी ऐसा कोई बताया नहीं उन्होंने कहाँ करना है। तो मैं कहूँगा कि place it wherever you want or wherever you feel most uncomfortable, because that will help your mouth, your mouth muscles, your tongue, everything in your this part. It helps your all muscles to work more and strengthen your muscles. So try it out, and if you are able to understand it, we will try to summarize all the things when I will take out this pen and we will summarize this chapter and end this session. Okay, let's start. So our chapter is, why don't I make the right decisions in life? Is decision making a feeling based art or a logical based science? When decisions are based on feelings and love is based on logic, both tend to meet with disappointment. More important than knowing how to make good decisions is knowing when to make those decisions. Again, more important than knowing how to make good decisions is knowing when to make those decisions. And more important, knowing when to make decisions is knowing when not to make them. Oh my God! Here are 7 circumstances in Mahabharata that reveal when and how decisions ought not be made. First is fear-driven decisions. The tortoise shell protected as long as the shell is above it. But as soon as it flips over, the shell makes it helpless, and the tortoise flaps around helplessly. Similarly, a person who takes decisions out of fear flaps around just like this tortoise and takes stubborn, abrupt steps. In the Mahabharata, Ashwatthama, when cornered by Pandavas, took the most foolish decision of unleashing the deadly Brahmastra capable of destroying the whole world. This decision stemmed from his intense fear and need for his own security. The Brahmastra was meant to obscure his fear and create fear and insecurity for the Pandavas, which ultimately backfired. Second situation is affinity-driven decisions. A cloth hung on a hook takes shelter from it. The same hook tears the cloth when pulled away forcefully. Just like the cloth, those who take decisions based on unnatural affinity to people they are hooked to get torn apart. In Mahabharata, I'm not going to say Mahabharata, Rama, Krishna, no, Krishna Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, since Kans, each and every decision was based on his assumed affinity to his friend Duryodhana. He was torn apart between his loyalty to Dharma and that to his friendship. The friendship hook gripped him tight, and when decisions had to be taken, his dharma was torn apart. The third is the grief-driven decisions. A drop of ink on a blotting paper spreads and prevails the paper. Similarly, grief too begins with a drop, but when it falls into the blotting paper of the uncontrolled mind, it percolates into every aspect of life. In the Mahabharata, Gandhari made 2 decisions blinded by extreme grief, and ended up with large-scale destruction. The first instance was when she realized that Kunti had given birth to a son before her. She struck her womb in envy, resulting in 100 sons being born to her, carrying the spirit of envy in their lives. The second was when she felt that Krishna was the cause of death of her children. She cursed that his Yadu dynasty be destroyed. The fourth case is joy-driven decisions. When a hilarious joke triggers uncontrollable laughter, at some point tears roll out from the eyes. The tears indicate that one has gone out of balance. Just like the body has a check and balance mechanism, life should also be based on similar check and balance mechanism. Often the most crucial decisions of life are taken on a high when there is too much joy or success. When the head is in the clouds, it is difficult to judge ground realities. In the Mahabharata, the king of Virat was happy beyond imagination on hearing that his son Uttar Kumar had defeated all the Kauravas alone in a battle. His joy was overflowing so much that he disregarded and even humiliated Yudhishthira. When decisions are taken in a fit of joy, they bring sorrow into life. The first is anxiety. Sorry. uh, अरे the fifth is ang- the fifth is anxiety-driven decisions. When running for life, will one even have the desire to eat or drink, let alone the ability to do it? Just like one has to have a stable body to relish the joy of tasty food and drink, a stable mind is prerequisite to relish the satisfaction of tastefully taken decisions. In the Mahabharata, all Bhishma's decisions were anxiety-driven decisions. His anxiety to protect the throne of Hastinapur led him to many wrong decisions. More than that, his anxiety made him decisionless sometimes. Opinion-driven decisions. Others' opinions are like sticky notes put on the walls of our minds. But before we use those opinions in our decision making, we should establish clarity in our hearts by developing the skill of personal discrimination. When dharma becomes the foundation of the heart, clarity becomes the background on which others' opinions can be judged. In the Mahabharata, Duryodhana's opinion was constantly molded by his uncle Shakuni toward the systematic destruction of the dynasty. Since Duryodhana did not have background clarity of dharma, he blindly followed Shakuni, not seeing his dubious agenda and the key which he was showing him into. But So Krishna was molded Arjuna's opinion. Arjuna used the clarity lens of Dharma to analyze every strategy suggested by Krishna. Only when one finds an opinion coming his way that stands the rest of principle-based clarity and not driven by personal agenda of the advisor, one should consider it weakness-driven decisions. A weak person uses a stick to balance himself, and the stick becomes his life support. But instead, if he uses that stick to hit people around him, his weakness has now become his meanness. When decisions are taken focusing on the weakness, we only over sympathize with our disability rather than doing what is right. In the Mahabharata, Dhritarashtra had one weakness, his blindness. All his decisions were based on his meditations and frustrations about this weakness. Every time he made a decision, he always brought out his stick of weakness and lashed out at others, reflecting his vicious mind. When your weakness becomes your meanness, instead of attracting sympathy, you attract apathy into your life. The Mahabharata is all about the science of decision making. The greatest secret of good and bad decision making and their repercussions are placed in front of us. When the Pandavas had to take a decision whether to fight the war or not, they consulted Krishna and all their friends, carefully weighing the advantage of the war and its consequences. Their personal understanding of Dharma was and selfless guidance from genuine Ananda-led friends helped them take good decisions. When Duryodhana had to take a decision about the gambling match, he kept it a secret and consulted only the agenda-based Shakuni. His personal lack of understanding of Dharma and self-centered guidance drove him to take bad decisions that resulted in short-term gain and long-term loss. In conclusion, good decisions are natural outcomes of stable minds using stable intelligence. In stable situations, in stable situations with the desire to have stability internally and externally, thereby choosing a stable path, a stable mind being free from the influence of debilitating emotions like fear, unnatural affinity, grief, anxiety, etc. When your intelligence is unstable, the mind is unstable, the situation is unstable, and people who are guiding you are unstable. How can stable decision happen? Now, the summary: making timely, uh, uh, making timely decisions is a critical skill. Equally critical is the decision of not making a decision. Fear drives you to take abrupt steps out of insecurity, which ultimately backfire. Decisions based on extreme affinity tear you away from the path of dharma. Grief makes you blind, and decisions made in grief can end up causing large scale destruction, whereas decisions coming from joy are unviolent and unchecked can result in sorrow. Anxiety leads to ineffective and untimely decisions causing all-round instability. Decisions based on others' opinions imply lack of clarity. Clarity comes from understanding of dharma, and only opinions that stand the test of principles should be considered. Decisions stemming from one's weakness reflect self-sympathy rather than what is right. Such decisions bring in apathy. Only a stable mind, free from fear, anger, grief, etc., is qualified to make positive and progressive decisions. Ah. Uh, it's hurting. So, what I have read and understand from this chapter is that why don't I make the right decisions in life? It This chapter taught us about that whenever our decisions are influenced by the situation which they have fear driven, affinity driven, grief driven, and joy driven, anxiety driven, opinion driven, weakness driven decisions, then we are not able to make the right decisions because we are not stable. And if we want to make stable decisions, we our mind has to be stable. uh, so the first case whenever when we are talking about the when we are talking about the why don't I make the right decision in life, the first case is the fear driven decisions. So whenever we are taking a decision, if our decisions are fear driven, means we are feared of something, and we fears about something happening, and we take decision to protect ourselves from that thing from happening. So that decisions are not correct, not good for ourselves, not good for anyone related to ourselves. That example of Aswathama, who is the son of teacher of Pandavas, and a very and a very and a very high level of archer. Yeah. And he when he was called, if you don't know the story, he cuts the head of all the five children of Pandavas. And when the Pandavas cornered him and for cornered him, so he is in a state of fear that all the five has cornered him, and he has no place to escape, because Krishna was also with them, not them. So he uses his ultimate move, the which was using Brahmastra. And then when he uses Brahmastra, Arjun also uses Brahmastra. But as we know, Brahmastra is very high powered. Yeah, why high powered? Dhanush, Tir, sorry, bow. I don't know whatever it called as in English. So it's a very high powered weapon. It can destroy the whole world. So I don't know the name of the rishi saint. He stops them before clashing the both Brahmastra, and asks both of them, request, not asked, I think that whatever we can say, ask both of them to make them back. But unfortunately, Aswathama don't know how to do that, and as we know, Arjun is a good archer, and we can say the greatest archer of the time. He knows and he take it back, but Ashwatthama doesn't know that, so he changes the direction, and he directed in the womb of Uttara, who is wife of Abhimanyu. He wanted to kill the unborn baby so that the dynasty of Pandavas gets wiped out, because he is the last person. He is the last one who can, I don't know how to say that, वो लास्ट बच्चा था भाई जो उनकी वंश को बचा सकता था ना, यही था, who can save their dynasty. He is the last one. Parikshit, yeah, his name was Parikshit. He is the last one who can save the dynasty of Pandavas. So everything happened, but his decision was based on the fear. So कृष्ण भगवान ने श्राप दिया उसे, मणि छीन ली उसकी, ब्ला ब्ला किया, आज भी जिंदा है, बकवास कर रहा है. So that decision backfired him, and this case taught us that whenever our decisions are fear driven, it backfired. It always backfired. The second is affinity driven decision. When we are close to someone and doesn't want to hurt them, and we take our decision in accordance to them, that time we are not thinking about anything else. We are not thinking about right or wrong. We are thinking about just them. And the example of this is about Karn. Karn is a good person. Karn is the biggest brother of Pandavas, but due to his affinity to Duryodhana, he forgot about what is dharma and what is adharma. So he made a lot of wrong decisions. That's why he gets killed. And the third is grief decision. Whenever you are in grief, and the same thing goes on. Whenever you are grief, whenever you are in joy, whenever you are in anxiety, whenever you have a lot of opinions and you don't have your own opinion, you don't have your own clarity of thoughts, you take decision from the opinions of all the persons. And the last is weakness driven decision. Whenever you have weakness, like who was the king, I don't know, Dhritarashtra. Yeah, Dhritarashtra has weakness, and he's blind, and he makes all his decisions in respect with his blindness. He always makes decision and always victimize himself that he's blind, that's why they are doing this, that's why this is happening to him. He victimizes himself. That weakness of blindness he can use it for sympathy, but that decisions which he has taken, the course of time of Pandavas, and his course of reigning time when he was the king of the Hastinapur and Bharat, he take decisions that are driven from his weakness of blindness, and he victimizes himself. That's why he takes a lot of wrong decisions. And also his love for his son, that's why he become a good father, but he also cannot become a good father, because a good father stops his son from doing any wrong things. And this is the whole crux of this chapter, that whenever you are making decisions, don't make decisions if you are not stable. If you are crying, if you have an anxiety, if you are so much happy, if you have anything, if you are making decisions through out of your weakness, don't make any decision. And if you do that, you will not make any wrong decisions. So this chapter is why don't I make the right decisions in life, chapter 4 of the book Open Eye Meditations from Dr. Subha Vilas. We will meet again tomorrow. Bye bye. Subratri.